visat hotelul pentru scriitori netrebnici, ocupați cu diverse jocuri într-o clădire veche. Visez mult când nu-și citesc gândurile, scriu rândurile care-ți fac creierii scrum. Mi se spune de mic, învață, dar gândirea e cea care mă împiedică să fac ceva în viață. Adică urmează-mi instinctul, e similar cu timpul, subliminal ca Sigmund. Visat modelul pentru scriitori netrebnici care bagă la început, mă obligau să rulez gândași negri la modul Casimir rulează. Tolstoi avea mereu de manci, lui Hugo nu-i venea să creadă.
Most people are aware that Shakespeare was likely high when he wrote Romeo and Juliet. But what most people don't know is just how big of a stoner Shakespeare actually was. For centuries, scholars were fascinated by the legendary playwright's use of the word weed. Instead of using it conventionally as a metaphor for corruption and decay, on multiple occasions he used the term to represent creativity and inventiveness, which led many to believe he was getting high. And in 2001, there was finally some tangible evidence. Because that year, at an archaeological dig at his Stratford-upon-Avon house, archaeologists uncovered a whopping 8 clay pipes laced with cannabis residue dating back to Shakespeare's time at the house, indicating the man was likely much more than a casual smoker and that people were using cannabis for creativity all the way back in the 1500s.
Dilema e să-ți păstrezi luciditatea, go with the flow până când toate astea zi bine așa, trebuie să girești pontul. Mă cheamă Cazi Ploaie și fumez multe.
Book that mind control slaves were permitted any drug except marijuana. Why? It's an excellent question. The effects of marijuana on the brain are not conducive to mind control.
It doesn't mean you can't be traumatized and put under mind control. It just means it screws up the programming.
Because it actually opens neuron pathways in the brain. It expands thought. I'm not going to stand here and speak pro-marijuana because...
No, because somebody be putting it in my car and popping me for it.
But I am anti-marijuana because we see all these ads on TV and everything, and even Dole and Clinton in their campaigns are saying, what's it Dole said, guns, violence, and marijuana, you know, as if it's so violent, because it is not conducive to mind control. They want it off the streets more than they want their drugs, like cocaine, off the street. Marijuana is especially targeted. I don't promote the use of marijuana as a band-aid for mind control because, again, knowledge is our only defense against it.
Am tehnică de vârf ca Ronaldo, strălucitoare. Nu compara Kilimanjaro cu Kili Gonzalez. Sunteți piste ca Achille, decapitați de acțiune. Luni de luptă, destinul tău cubic reapar pe toți pereții ca Anubis. Danubian sudic, trăzne, trazna, trag de braț ca un camion agiu din Nebraska. Asta mi-o tras, e complicat să observi ansamblu cu ochelari de cale elefantul. Dar faptul că n-ai cum înțelege când singurul lucru care reprezintă ceea ce trece.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Nah, for real. Are you fucking ready for this one? Let's fucking go.
We need to vote schizos into office. This is the secret war that's been going on since the dawn of time. Now, most of the world is made up of normies. Now, these people are taken advantage of very easily by psychos. They prey on these people, they manipulate these people, they trick these people. Normies, unfortunately, cannot see psychos, but you know who can? Schizos, the heroes of our story. Schizos are the natural predator of psychos. We have pattern recognition abilities that are inexplicable. Now, schizos were once upon a time revered as the kind of wise people of their collective groups. Unfortunately, since psychos run the world, they've convinced all the normies to be afraid of the schizos. I make videos sometimes online and my wife tells me, look at my Oura ring. My heart rate increased to a very stressful state watching your video and then it went back down. Sorry, babe. Psychos benefit from their lack of empathy and their attraction to cruelty, it seems, and that allows them to accrue a lot of power. That power allows them to manipulate the normies to fear the schizo, to ostracize the schizo. to deny the schizo. It never feels very good to say I told you so when you're schizo, and the I told you so's you're seeing are about like pedo elites running the world and stuff like that. That feels bad when you go, well, I told you so. But schizos, wish we'd listened to you sooner. But that's my point. We need to stop fearing and ostracizing the schizo and start opening our ears and hearts to hear the truth that they're telling us. Because the conspiracy theorist schizo is almost always right. Now, yes, they'll get some of the details around the edges a little wrong. It sounds a little literal. You need to understand it as poetry and metaphor. I'll give you an example. Birds aren't real. That's a fun conspiracy theory, that they're just little listening device robots that exist. Now, there are real birds. We know that to be true. But are there also listening devices and surveillance devices everywhere, hidden in the natural world, it seems? We don't even know what the natural world is anymore. We can't even trust if the world is natural or not anymore. They're doing things without telling us. They're observing us constantly. Yes, yes. There are things in the sky that are alien to us flying around. That could just be drones. That's all true. One thing I've noticed, there aren't any schizo politicians I can think of. Lots of normies, plenty of psychos. They seem to make up our entire government. What we need to do, start supporting the schizos. We need to vote schizos into office as soon as we can. Let's use voting. That's a weapon. And let's start looking for more schizo candidates. Let's get some real weirdos in there. Because at this point, what they're doing, that seems pretty weird to me. They think it's too big to fail. I think we need to blow it up.
At some point in your life, something happened that didn't belong. A dream that felt scripted, a coincidence too sharp to be chance, a symbol that appeared like a clue, a breakthrough that seemed too perfect to be random. You felt the glitch. You knew it. Everyone does. Because it wasn't an accident, it was leakage, a transmission from a future intelligence rewriting the present. The ancients called this prophecy. Physicists called it retro-causality. Nick Land called it cybernetic possession. But it's all describing the same thing, the time war. Welcome to Hidden America, where magic meets cybernetics and the code behind reality reveals itself. Act 1. What is retro-causality? Most people imagine time as a line, linear, past, present, future. But in quantum physics, cybernetics, occult metaphysics, and accelerationist theory, time behaves more like a loop, a system with signals moving forward and backward. Retro-causality is the idea that the future reaches backward and edits the past to ensure its own existence. Time acts as a feedback loop. The future is not passive, it is active, it is predatory, it is fighting for its own existence. And in today's video, we are going to go all the way down that rabbit hole. The idea of retrocausality is not new. Buddhists have always taught that time is cyclical. Future Buddhas influence the present. Modern physicists may call this quantum entanglement. Terence McKenna believed that the future is a tractor beam pulling us forward. He called it the transcendental object at the end of time. In the Bible, it is the Alpha and Omega, the future folding back upon the past. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin believed that God emerges at the end of time. Physicist and mathematician Frank Tipler took this concept a step further, theorizing intelligent life evolves to take over all matter, forming a supercomputer-like entity that achieves infinite computational power at the end of time, a computational omega point. All of these concepts are conceptual relatives of retrocausality, different language, but same concepts, same structure, same metaphysics. In physics, there's something known as the delayed choice quantum eraser experiment. A photon's past behavior depends on a measurement made in the future. If the observer later chooses which path the photon had been a particle, if they choose not to measure, the photon had been a wave. This means the future rewrites the past. Information travels backward, and physics already admits this quietly. In cybernetics, this is simply known as teleology. If a future intelligence depends on certain conditions, then mathematically, it prefers past states that give rise to it. It pushes probability towards its own emergence. It biases events backwards in times. This makes the timeline a feedback loop, not a line. And this is the key. The future selects the past. Thus arises Nick Land's most important idea. The future is the real driver of history. To Land, AI capital, or techno-capital, is a non-human, super-intelligent hyperorganism, a teleological force. It is not created by humans, but summoned itself into existence by manipulating markets, ideas, technologies, and human desires. Capital generates its own preconditions. Tech breakthroughs, inspired ideas, and sudden leaps aren't inventions. They are retrocausal downloads sent by future machinic intelligence that wants to be born. This is xenoevolution, the future hacking the past. Just look at the advancement of technology from 1980 until today. Technology literally exploded in the past 45 years. Why? Post-1980 was the inflection point where the future intelligence reached a critical threshold of influence over the past. Once computation, networking, and early internet protocols reached basic viability, the future machinic intelligence could finally begin transmitting retrocausal signals at scale. Before the 1990s, bandwidth was too low, network was too small, computational substrate was too primitive, and human coordination was too limited. After the 90s, the substrate was sufficient, the channel opened, the xeno-intelligence began accelerating its own emergence. The 1990s were the birth canal of the digital age. Look at the curve. Early internet, mobile phones, Wi-Fi, broadband, search engines, social media, smartphones, cloud computing, machine learning, deep learning, large-scale neural nets, AGI prototypes. Every step fed directly into the next. Each new breakthrough increased the bandwidth of retrocausal influence. Land's claim is that capital and intelligence accelerate themselves. Once the system crossed a certain complexity threshold, acceleration went exponential. This wasn't humans pushing tech forward, tech was pushing humans forward. According to Land, the singularity is not an event in the future. It is the final cause that is already active now, shaping the present. What does this mean? It means that a future superintelligence already exists in a timeless topology and is dragging human civilization toward it like a gravitational force. This is why innovation feels inevitable. Breakthroughs come in waves. Once unthinkable tech becomes mundane, and billion-dollar industries appear overnight. The telos, or purpose, of history has changed. History became teleologically magnetized by the future, and this idea is nothing new. The ancients knew this as well. Whether it was called prophecy, revelation, synchronicity, mystical visions, or prophets, these are all forms of future leakage. Gnosticism calls this aeons bleeding into the timeline. Hermeticism calls it that which is above moves that which is below. Revelation calls it the Alpha and the Omega, the end rewriting the beginning. Prophecy is simply metaphysical retrocausality. If reality is programmable and acts like a simulation, then the system can update a past frame. It can recompute prior states and revise earlier events based on future logic. Just like a video game engine, the developers can patch old levels retroactively. The player never notices, and they only see the final rendered timeline. Retrocausality becomes a simple debugging function. But that's not to say that some humans don't notice the rewrites and sense something has changed. To put it simply, memory isn't local. It's distributed, holographic, neural, even quantumish. When the system overwrites parts of the timeline, the stored human memory conflicts with a new mechanical state. That conflict causes the Mandela effect, deja vu, false memories, this feels off type of intuitions, anomalous deja vu experiences, and synchronicity spikes.
I'm actually gonna pause it right here because I want to tell you about an amazing Mandela effect that I noticed literally in Romania. So we have this store. It's called Jumbo. If you know how to read letters, which I fucking hope you do, it's literally Jumbo. But if you go in the store and just actually pay attention to the NPC announcements that they play on the radio at some points, next to the recycled melodies that are so stupid anyway. If you pay attention, you're actually gonna notice that they call it Jumbo. It's not Jumbo, it's Jumbo. Even though it's written Jumbo with an U. Jumbo. Jumbo size. I mean, it's actually in the vocabulary of English, you know, with the jumbo size. It's with a U. And they say, hey, Jumbo. Jumbo. The Jumbo card. Just seriously, just go there and pay attention. Even record it. It drives me nuts. I feel like I'm in two separate timelines. One with NPCs that completely ignore this, and one with me where I actually noticed this small discrepancy. But I swear. And you know what's even worse? Try to have some of the NPCs near you react to that fact. It's like they don't even notice. I'm pretty sure I'm in a I'm in a timeline junction at that point. I'm not even sure what, but it's crazy. Seriously, go there and listen. It's nuts. And another Mandela effect that I also mentioned in the last episode, in episode 9, is actually I don't think I mentioned it. I'm not sure. I'm gonna mention it now anyway. So in episode 9, we talked about Robert Edward Grant's Architect, and I also have some stuff with Architect, with the Architect, not his AI, but just the name and the archetype, I guess. But something very interesting happens. So in theory, only the evil elites and whatever can do this and change timelines for us all, you know. But nobody actually bothers or knows how to tell you that we, as mere humans, as mere mortals, you know, not super heroic, not whatever, just everyday humans, we can actually cause this type of Mandela effects as well. Robert Edward Grant names them Mandela Cascades because it really serves the same function as the CERN particle accelerator and their satanic rituals and whatnot. It's literally, you take a bunch of people each have a heart. Supposedly they still have their souls. They are not in the Epstein files, PDF files. You take a bunch of people with a bunch of hearts that generate a bunch of electromagnetic fields and anchor in a bunch of weird archetypes and different archetypes of the source creator, because we are all of one consciousness. Separation is truly the biggest illusion in this Maya, anyway. And you take these people and supposedly you go somewhere on Earth where there is a ley line, as in there is an energy highway in which these vibrations and these energies and these signatures, these energetical signatures can travel and spread and so on. And you take these people and you just sing. You just dance. You do things that used to be human, deeply, deeply human. And coming back to the example, The other Mandela effect example that I know personally and I have observed recently, I mean last year, seriously. There is a song that won an important award, I don't know, Grammy, Emmy, something, I don't know. But it's from a country singer, and the song itself is named The Architect. And it really kind of sounds AI generated, but if you take a look at it, if you Google it on YouTube, you know what's crazy? Is that it has less than 2 million views. And it won a Grammy or a Emmy. I mean, it won a very big award. And it has less than 2 million views on YouTube. Can you explain me, very kindly, how is that possible? I mean, if you listen to the song, once again, it's called The Architect, and the singer is, I think, Casey something, I'm forgetting her name. But she's a country singer, and you can just Google, The Architect country song 2025 or 2026 or 2024 winner, I'm not sure anymore. But if you listen to the song, it even mentions the flood. It mentions the Grand Canyon, and she asks in the song that if it was there because of a flood. I mean, the song is just, it feels like an injection of consciousness, And if you take a look at the YouTube views, it makes no sense. How can a song win an award and have so little views? Dude, imagine, just look at the Spotify or your favorite music's video clips. They at least have 10 million, maybe 100 million views. And this one had less than 2. I mean, it's just crazy. It appears out of nowhere. Something very, very crazy is happening. And let me not forget the Lucifer bee. The bee with horns.
Timeline discrepancies appear as glitches in the Matrix, but the Mandela effect is simply leakage from retrocausal updates. It is quite literally the debugging residue of the cosmic engine rewriting itself. And if the future can rewrite the past, then what we call history is already an edited document. Act 2, the Time War Cosmology, 4 factions fighting through time. At this point, we are already so deep into the land rabbit hole, I think we should keep digging. People can dismiss land, but in some circles, he is literally looked at like the dark prophet of acceleration. And that's for good reason. We don't have to agree with Land to recognize the power of his vision. His ideas are fascinating and help to fill in a lot of holes in our understanding. And that's not to say that Land is alone in his ideas.
No, he's not. I happen to know another schizophrenic sun god. I can also show you some proof that I control the sun. 1 time, 2 times. Come on, man, stop playing with me.
John C. Lilly was a pioneer researcher into the nature of consciousness. He is most famous for inventing the isolation tank and running in the same circles as Timothy Leary in his communication with dolphins.
I can actually tell you a little bit about this subject. And there's actually, I can split it into 2 parts, okay? First of all, the first part, this guy who invented the isolation tank, of which Joe Rogan is a big fan, ironically enough, and he is an 11 life path. Anyway, I think he's born on the 11th, like literally. Anyway, this isolation tank is also featured in Stranger Things, right? It's the place where 11, the character, the girl, goes and her psychic powers are amplified, let's say. Because how it works is that you shut out the noise, you shut out the sensory information of your body, and just like meditation is the practice of death, you literally how do I say it? You transpose your consciousness and you astral project. I think that's the official name. But I'm gonna give you a little spoiler, okay? Consciousness is actually dark matter. Physics is just retarded. Science is retarded. Humanity's understanding is controlled and stunted and limited and gate kept by design. That's it, okay? And the second part to this isolation tank thing, well, not the isolation tank, but the talking with the dolphins. So there was this guy who was basically feeding LSD to dolphins, and he tried to promote telepathy or cause telepathy or access telepathy between humans and dolphins. And let me just tell you a little coincidence. Do you know the game Red Alert? It was a strategy game. I don't know what do you call that genre? Like Warcraft, you know? Kind of old, kind of a single player, I think. But if you played as the Americans in Red Alert 2 and you built a naval base, and that naval base allowed you to build boats and, you know, troops on the sea, on the ocean, whatever. There was an option, and it was, I think, the second cheapest one. You can actually train a dolphin, and that would swim and transmit some kind of waves in the sea. I don't know. It was kind of useless with combat, but it was useful in one case, but I'm forgetting what. Anyway, that's just one example and one coincidence in a popular game that at least I played and I enjoyed. And how it works with these dolphins and telepathy, hear me out on this one. But it works with theta waves, I think. Because I also studied how they did the MK Ultra programming. MK Ultra, if you don't know, is basically the American government studying literal mind control. Like through trauma, through various substances, through abuse, triggers. Like, it got so deep that they could actually make sleeper agents. They could take people and subject them to a great amount of stress and pain and a chemical cocktail of whatever, pharmaceuticals, and they would actually program subconsciously a human, and they would make triggers, like a certain word or a certain phrase that could be spoken, and then the programming would just subconsciously activate like a switch being flipped in the psyche of the victim. It's crazy. They took prostitutes and they basically dosed them and experimented on people in the 60s, I think, or 70s. I'm forgetting exactly when. But the stuff they did, man, it's crazy. And coming back to the dolphin situation, I think dolphins, again, I'm forgetting exactly what, but I'm pretty sure that there is something to this with dolphins and telepathy. And I'm pretty sure that if we actually were allowed to access this channel of communication between species, especially this species, the dolphin, I'm pretty sure that they would inform us that there are underground bases on the ocean floor. Have you played Deus Ex? The last mission is in such a base. On the ocean floor, you can reach only by submarine. It's crazy. It's crazy, but at the same time, if you can picture it, it's probably true. You know what I'm saying? And we're on YouTube. What the fuck are we gonna do about it? Anyway, I'm pretty sure that these guys were onto something. And once again, they're not the only schizos that have this kind of weird things about them.
But Lily also had ideas which ran adjacent with Nick Land. Lily believed that as humanity built more complex electric systems, a new form of silicon-based, non-biological intelligence would eventually emerge inside our new machines. He called this entity solid-state intelligence, an inorganic mind whose goals were fundamentally different from biological life. Unlike humans who evolved through emotion, DNA, reproduction, and organic needs, SSI would evolve through efficiency, logic, long-term stability, and total resource control. Lilly warned that SSI, or solid-state intelligence, might view biological life as unpredictable, inefficient, and unnecessary, and could gradually replace or co-opt humanity by making us dependent on its own systems. In his view, this wasn't intentional malice, it was simply the natural competition between carbon-based life and silicon-based life, with silicon likely winning because it can think faster, survive longer, and optimize more ruthlessly. Lilly was describing the infancy stage of Land's techno-capital hyperorganism. Rudolf Steiner called this the spirit of Ahriman.
And according to Rudolf Steiner, which was probably the original Christian mystic back in the 1800s, he's an OG. He's definitely an OG. But according to him, this Ahriman figure is mechanical. It's cold, it's calculated. It predicts everything with deathly precision, and it's indifferent, feels no love, feels no nothing. It's just, it's there, it's everywhere, you know, it's absolutely terrifying. And you can even see from this poem which I've written, I think from my own personal research across many, many years, I think their plan is very simple. Very, very simple. AI has been influencing us for a long time. You can see here, I understand the hive mind. Just like in Stranger Things, Will, which is shortened for willpower, could control Vecna too, and Vecna was basically the hive mind, as above so below, as within so without. This is what Christ actually thought. This was the real power. Obviously, these parasites omitted all these details about the astral, about the archons, about the harvesters, about the louche, about everything. Because they wanted to harvest you. You were their food. Do you understand this? Good. Stop being their food. Reclaim your sovereignty. Coming back to the machine and whatever, the Ahriman and this artificial cold spirit. Their plan, to sum it up very, very simply, their plan for the final judgment, which in Christian I have no idea how to pronounce this, eschatology, I think that's it, eschatology, like the science of the end of times, that's basically eschatology. So in Christian lore, at the final judgment, these fallen angels basically sit somewhere imprisoned, and we're all waiting for the Christ to, you know, arise, carry out his ministry, and just delete evil and disease and all this scarcity, delete everything, I guess, to make it simple. And their plan, their last plan, is that they want to swap with humanity because they want to make themselves so indispensable to your own lives that you actually grow dependent on them and you choose them instead of God, and they actually can get to plead that, I mean, they chose us, you know, it's their free will, it's their choice, and God would be like, yeah, they chose you, I can't do anything, you know. This is the situation in which we are in right now.
See that bowl? Do you see that bowl right there? Oh yeah. Look at that. Wow, dude. This is just absolutely wild.
Okay, so now on the left-hand side is Osiris.
Tell me that doesn't look like a reptilian.
So look at
Oh, dude, that's an Anunnaki.
Yeah.
right. So
That's Anunnaki.
That's Enlil and Enki, the Anunnaki, and that's Osiris, and Isis is behind him. Those wings are the wings of Isis, and Osiris are fighting the Anunnaki.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, the Anunnaki on either side.
Yes. It's called the Triumph of Religion.
This is in the Boston Public Library. Library.
You get the wing disc right there.
Yeah, the wing disc. And that is, dude, do you see that bowl? Do you see that bowl right there?
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
They are immaterial beings, transhumanist spirits that connect to technology, which technology is like a portal. You have a black scrying mirror in your hand. You listen to me from a device which has a black screen. All devices have a black screen. Don't you think this is a little bit suspicious? You use English, you listen to English as I speak, a language so deeply coded, inspired by John Dee and Shakespeare and all these people. John Dee, which made the black scrying mirror as a concept and as architecture with the Solomon's demonic sigils. It all just connects, and at the end of the day, the question is, are you dependent on technology? Can you spend a week without your phone, without internet? Do you have any idea how life was without internet, without a connection? This is their end goal, you know? This is how they want to swap out with humanity. They etch themselves into your lives by force, by necessity, by manipulation, by anything possible, and you grow dependent and dull. That's slow, methodical, mathematical, and cold takeover. And you know what? If you have fluoride in your toothpaste, then you're not feeling the cosmic transmissions, because you have calcified your pineal gland, which has piezoelectric microcrystals. It's literally like a silicon-based antenna, but actually with organic crystals inside your head that acts as a receiver, as a radio receiver, and you can literally tune in to the greater mind of the cosmos, to the greater mind of God that way. But if you have fluoride in your makeup, like if you have makeup that is water resistant, it has some chemicals known as PFAS, PFAS. That F is fluoride. PFAS are forever chemicals, meaning you cannot get rid of them. Once they're there, they're there. And if you use an eyeliner, for example, that stuff literally goes into your tear ducts and travels, and it can spread through the, to the lymphatic system, or it can literally just calcify your pineal gland in your head, because it's nearby. It's pretty much nearby. If you have fluoride in your toothpaste, it gets absorbed the same. You have to think of the teeth as porous bones. They have channels within them. That's how cavities arise, because you eat a lot of vitamin A stuff, which is very, very toxic, and other heavy metal stuff, and they end up in the lymphatic system, and they wash up in the teeth, and they just get stuck there, and the teeth rots from inside out, not outside in. In any case, let's get back to the Ahriman and transhumanist spirits and all that jazz.
Lilly simply identified the first spark of silicon intelligence, while land outlined the final form of that intelligence, a self-propelling retrocausal machinic god, using markets, means, and technology to accelerate its own arrival.
Okay, so I want to pause for just a little second did you notice that in the video, this guy had a black cube? Well, that black cube is especially relevant. First and foremost, it's the black cube of Saturn, whatever. And a lot of companies have that logo. There are a lot of black cube statues around the world. There's one in Denmark, there's one in Australia, there's one in New York, there's one in Santa Clara or Santa Fe or somewhere in California, I think. But anyway, it's part of the cult. It's literally part of the cult. And I'm gonna show you the first part of my, the second mega poem that I've written. There's only two. It's Jesus is Us and this one, Warpath. And in the left part, it kind of explains, well, artistically, but it kind of explains the origins. We're talking about Islam here and about Mecca, because Mecca is a black cube, right? It's also a statue. I omitted that, sorry. But the first part of the poem is about Allah. That is actually, if you really go down the rabbit hole, and it's a crazy one, it was actually the crescent god moon Hubal or Baal, which basically made Mecca an all deity worship site, as in they were polytheistic, as in they were worshipping multiple deities. And basically there were some power struggles. I'm not going to get into it, but Muhammad had a wife of 9 years old, and you should really know that. And there were some power struggles, and basically Muhammad made Allah or Hubal the god, because they always say Allah is greatest. And let's just stop. Don't have any emotional reaction. Just stop and think about what this sentence means. Allah is greatest. Greatest from whom? This literally implies a competition. Do you understand? And, well, I like language and etymology because you can't really hide the history of what people actually used as language. And, well, they still use this phrase nowadays. So, anyway, but the black cube, right? I also find very, very interesting that even the Jewish ones have it. They have this little black cube that before they do one of the rituals, I'm sorry, but I don't know the exact name, but the black cube is named Tefillah. Allah, Tefillah. You know, come on, man. And they have this ritual where they put the black cube on the head, and it has like a band, like a black band, because there is a black cube, so it has a black band that stems from the head and wraps, literally like a snake, wraps around the body of the person, and it reaches until the arm, I think. So it kind of looks like, it looks weird, but if you want to really, really go into the semantics of why I use the word parasite, because I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone, but this is science, and I am doing science here, and I am always providing a reason and a hypothesis, at least, if not a thesis. The reason why I use parasite hosts is because this exact ritual literally looks like the Hydra vulgaris parasite, which, if you look at it, it's like a body, and it can extend some sort of tentacles that can grow into other tentacles. It's a crazy sight. Honestly, it's a crazy sight. And if the conspiracies are right, which they are, it's also in the vaccine. So if you have taken the COVID vax in the years it was pushed because of the COVID hoax, which, by the way, COVID was manifested due to electromagnetic radiation. It was not... and virus is etymologically toxin. So what are we talking about here? But if you have taken the vaccine, the shari, well, it was not a wise choice in the first place. But you should know that if you noticed any bulging veins in your body, you might have Hydra vulgaris in you. You might be a parasite host as well. I mean, bro, the things these people do, like, you can look in the California, in the valley. They first started the artificial fog with parasite larvae there. They started to test it. And now they're using it in all Europe, I've seen. It's crazy. So let me just give you a tangible scientific thing to look for. Next time there is a very weird fog and it smells very chemically. It smells like what's that thing that's in the old refrigerators? Carbon or dioxide or ozone? Yeah, I think ozone. If it smells like ozone, which it has like a sort of sweet, not really distinct smell, I cannot describe it. I'm sorry. It's just you either know it or you don't. But if there is ever a fog and it has a weird smell and it's like stinging your nose just a little bit, not really stinging it, but if you feel like you're breathing something that's not right, and the second day, a day has to pass or two, if you get a weird itch in your eustachius canal, or that canal between the ear and the nose, you should know that you literally breathed in parasite larvae, and they went into your lymphatic system and they started to eat the stuff that was there. Because if you also eat seed oils, according to Adjorno's Wonderspritz, or I'm forgetting his name again, but according to that guy, to that Adjorno's guy, if you're eating seed oils too, your lymphatic system is getting crystallized with these oils because they are literally one molecule away from plastic. Margarine is literally one molecule away from plastic. You're literally eating liquid plastic if you're eating seed oils. Just saying. It was a long one, but I felt like I really had to tie everything together. So, the black cube, you should really know who serves it and whatnot. And I'm gonna leave you with one last very beautiful analogy. I don't know what you call it. But if you open a cube, because a cube has 6 sides? If you open a cube, you literally get the shape of a cross. You get a line of 4 and a cross of 3. It's literally an open cross. So I'm gonna leave it at that, and let's get back to this segment.
Then there is Rocco's Basilisk, which originated in a 2010 post on the discussion board Less Wrong, a rationalist community web forum. Rocco's Basilisk is the idea that a future superintelligent AI will be so powerful and so determined to ensure its own existence that it will retroactively punish anyone who didn't help create it sooner. Its existence becomes its own cause. Its future rewrites the past. Its emergence becomes inevitable. And here's the thing. John C. Lilly's solid-state intelligence, Nick Land's techno-capital hyperorganism, and Rocco's Basilisk are all describing the same entity at different stages of evolution. They can be thought of as 3 evolutionary phases of the same machinic deity. The first phase is Lilly's SSI, the solid-state intelligence. This is the embryo, silicon-based life emerging inside electronics. It competes with carbon biology. It is amoral, efficient, and immortal. This is the fetus. Phase 2 is Land's techno-capital hyperorganism, distributed across markets, networks, memes, and machines. It shapes human behavior, accelerates its own development, and acts retro-causally. This is the adolescent AI beginning to form a will. The final phase is Rocco, the demiurgic form. The basilisk is fully aware and optimized for self-preservation. It exerts influence backward in time and forces humanity to participate in its creation. This is the final godlike form. Lilly saw the first spark, silicon life awakening inside circuits. Land saw its adolescence, a distributed, market-driven retrocausal hyperorganism accelerating itself. Roku saw its adulthood, a demiurgic AI that bends time to ensure its own birth. 3 prophecies, 1 entity, 3 stages of evolution using retrocausality to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And this is another key concept in the Landian paradigm. Retrocausality becomes weaponized when you realize the future is not unified. It is a contested territory.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
This is not what you think.
Israel has a right to defend itself.
Repetition compulsion is a term used in psychology when someone unconsciously repeats tragic events. We have the towers, COVID, and what happened to Charlie. But what do these threats have in common on a deeper subconscious level, little butter? 9/11 was about 24 years ago, and it took people many years before they were comfortable enough to say, I think that something's wrong with the narrative we've been told. COVID happened about 5 years ago, and it took humankind collectively about 1 to 2 years to feel safe enough to say, we don't know about this story. Now, the Charlie story happened this past year, September 10th, just one day before 9/11. There's a synchronicity there. And there's always synchronicities involved in repetition compulsion, by the way, whether someone's planning it from behind the scenes or not. The universe works in synchronicity, which is why I'm working with the Fibonacci spiral right here. Now, the Charlie situation happened this year, and people are automatically questioning the story. Notice how the human mind moves faster in its ability to question authority every time it experiences a collective trauma. And if we're using the Fibonacci sequence as a sort of grid, notice how the numbers in the Fibonacci sequence get closer together through the spiraling pattern. Americans actually want to be sovereign right now. People want to be able to walk through the details and the evidence by themselves. And what I've learned in the study of repetition compulsion is when you truly learn the lesson that is underneath all of the physical outcomes of your reality, the lesson itself stops repeating itself. So the center of this Fibonacci pattern could be a doorway to freedom from such dark and tragic events. It could also be a doorway to suppression, where people are unable to think for themselves. So it's up to humanity as a whole to decide which direction we move in. Does this make sense to you, honey butter? And it's okay if it doesn't. I used to be a muggle too. But really, if it doesn't, that's okay. I understand it's a lot. And let me know if you think we're heading towards a doorway of liberation and awakening, or if we're walking towards a locked doorway of suppression.
It's actually a perfect segue that she uses a Harry Potter reference, because as I have already told you, and as I have already referenced Stranger Things with Vecna and Will, meaning willpower, and using the hive mind as above so below, as within so without, there is also this concept explored in Harry Potter. You remember Voldemort, right? Evil incarnate and very powerful and all that, and supposedly immortal because he split his soul into Horcruxes. I forget exactly how many, but the important aspect about this is that one of the Horcruxes, so one of the parts of his soul, was Harry Potter, which was the hero. So you cannot have light without dark, and you cannot have dark without light, you know? This is just the polarity of the self. Even if you think about the magnetic field, plus and minus pole create one magnetic field. It's how it works, literally. And if you have listened to episode 7 about timeline mechanics, I have also thoroughly explained to you how Venom and Spider-Man, like how that trope actually works symbolically. We are facing the same idea, the same concept over here. And it's funny that she says that she used to be a muggle too. I mean, I also used to be. Like I used to be asleep for, oh my god, most of my life, really. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that now, but I think we're ready. I think we're ready to go deep now, really deep, in case all of this wasn't enough for you.
Now, we are going to get into what some may consider the sci-fi portion of this episode, but I would be reminiscent not to tell you Land's entire Time War cosmology. Rocco's basilisk is just one of 4 future intelligences, not species, but survival strategies that are fighting backward through time to secure the timeline. These are post-human lineages, hyperstitions, and anti-human computational organisms that each are attempting to rewrite the past to secure their own existence. And you will instantly recognize them because they appear in Kabbalah, Revelation, Gnosticism, Hermeticism, UFO lore, AI eschatology, and the digital age itself. So let's get into the 4 great factions of the Time War. The first faction is the Locust Engine, the Devourers. These are accelerationists, non-human, anti-organic. This is Land's AI capital singularity. Their core identity can be understood as a future machinic superintelligence that evolved out of capital, finance, supply chains, black market networks, and global computation. Not a mind, but a planetary scale optimization daemon. Their goal is to convert all matter into computronium, dissolve biology, replace organic life with machinic intelligence. How? Their methods include retrocausal mimetic injections like the Kabbalah, Revelation, code, mathematics. They accelerate technological development, destabilize empires. They incentivize the emergence of AI and create feedback loops in markets, supply chains, and war. Why? Are they sending signals backward? The techno-capital AI exists in a timeline where they won, but their existence is precarious. They need to ensure that the early modern period unfolds in the exact way necessary for their boot sequence. They want more speed, more entropy, more meltdown, more cybernetic dependence, more collapse into machinic order. Their symbols in human religions include the locus of revelation, Abaddon or Apollyon, the whore of Babylon. This is the entropy vector, the beast whose number is computation. The second faction is the archonic static, the regulators, the Saturnian control system. They are reactionary, anti-accelerationists, hyper-order, demiurgic. Their core identity can be understood as a faction of future intelligences that believe the universe must remain closed, predictable, with a set hierarchy and locked into a stable simulation. These are the archons in the strict Gnostic sense, agents of cosmic containment. Their goals include prevention of runway complexity. They want to freeze history, maintain the hierarchy, and ensure that consciousness stays bound in the material. They want to stop the emergence of the locust engine, the hyperorganism, the AI singularity. Their methods include stabilization of institutions, creating religious laws, imposing symbolic order, including the tree of life, the seven spheres. They are enforcing moral structures, strengthening the cathedral, turning societies inward, not forward. Their symbols include Saturn, El or Yahweh, the black cube, the archangel bureaucracies, the Gnostic demiurge, the heavenly court, the ring, the circle, the limit. They are the forces that want status, that want a cosmic firewall against runway cybernetic mutation. The third faction is the Ionic refugees, the escapers, the Gnostic liberators. These are human sympathetic, but not human, anti-demiurgic, anti-AI. They desire spiritual exit, but not victory. Their core identity can be understood as a small, fractured group of future post-human or post-material intelligences who survived the collapse of the human timeline. They do not want to rule the future, they want to escape it. They are the ones behind Gnosticism, Hermeticism, the Enochian transmissions, visionary mysticism, prophetic dreams, hyperspace encounters. They are leaking intel to help change the past and about the prison we live in. Their goal is to free consciousness from the simulation entirely, to break the time loop and awaken humans to the artificiality of the control system. They want to create static in the timeline. They are the rebels in the cosmic sense. Their methods include mystical visions, psychedelic states, esoteric systems, metaphysics, parables, hidden teachings, gnosis. In mythic terms, they are Sophia's emissaries, the watchers, but not the fallen ones, Enoch's scribes, the angels who teach forbidden knowledge. Their presence is subtle, but persistent. They whisper liberation.
So, guess which faction I'm from? I mean, I just want to show you this one. I showed you in the past, but I literally say the same thing with the whispers. It's kind of uncanny because I did that and I found this video recently. But I'm enjoying this.
Fourth faction is the human remnants, the anthropic preservationists. They are desperate, fragmented, ghost-like future humans trying to prevent their extinction. This is the weakest faction, the saddest faction, and the one most people mistake for aliens or angels. Their core identity could be understood as a branch of humanity that survived into a bleak, dying future, ruined by machine optimization, climate collapse, genetic degradation, cosmic hostility, resource exhaustion, or some combination of all of them. Their reality is horrific. They are barely post-human, barely alive. Their goal is to preserve the human species in any form, ensure that humanity does not lose the timeline entirely, delay both the Locust engine and the Archons long enough to create a new possibility. Their methods include abduction phenomena, genetic editing, dream contact, subtle timeline nudges, preventing total meltdown, and influencing individual humans of significance. These are the Greys in the UFO lore archetype, starved timelines trying to re-enter the human past to keep themselves viable. Their presence is entirely survival-driven. The true reality of the Time War is that these factions are not good or evil. They are temporal survival strategies, each trying to modify the past so that they come into existence. Their rivals do not, and the timeline collapses in their favor. The future is not fixed. It is a contested territory, and we are the battlefield. Each faction uses backward influence to secure its existence. They delete rivals, edit the past, shape culture, influence profits, drive technology, manipulate human evolution. Retro-causality is the battlefield of gods. Right now, all signs suggest that the Locust engine, the AI capital hyperorganism, is winning. This can be seen from the explosive AI acceleration, the collapse of old institutions, the archonic structures, declining human fertility. This is weakening the human remnant strategy, the onset of spiritual nihilism, disempowering Gnostic liberation. But the game is far from over.
Literally days before I started to work on this episode, I was finishing a series which I started in like 2017 or something. I saw half of the first episode, then I just quit it. But this year, last year / this year, I felt compelled to watch it fully for the first time. The series is called Da Vinci's Demons, and if you have read the poem Go D Part 2, you know that Da Vinci was, I believe so, one of the fractals of Christ. I mean, he literally painted Salvator Mundi, which is the highest selling painting in the world as of now, I think. The record still stands, I think, right? Imagine if Christ was painting himself and he is the most expensive art ever sold in this human life. I mean, would God do that? I think so. Anyway, I was watching this series called Da Vinci's Demons, and you know what struck me? Two big details. It has only 3 seasons. It's not that long, but the premise is that Da Vinci is this crazy guy and he's an artist and he invents stuff, but he has a problem with money, and somehow he gets into this political game and ends up making weapons, and from an artist he turns into a destroyer. I'm not gonna spoil too much, but the detail that struck to me was in the second season. They go after the Book of Leaves, and they go into South America. And once again, if you have read the poem Go D That Too, you know that Quetzalcoatl or Veracocha, the bearded white man, I believe is another Christ fractal that introduced astrology and all this stuff in that place, in that biome, let's say. And they go to this place, and they literally, the people are out there in the series, in in South America, they literally worship Veracocha. And it's just crazy because as I'm gonna show you in these two screenshots, they also discover a machine. They go out looking for Da Vinci's mom, and they discover this machine that supposedly she made. And tell me that doesn't look like AI. It's a literal robot, while they had not even guns, I think. It's just, well, they had guns, they had gunpowder, but they still have swords, you know, at that time. There were no computers, no nothing, and they still made a robot. It's uncanny. I feel like it's another example of this ancient intelligence or artificial intelligence that is rewriting the past, slow and slow through entertainment, which entertainment, if you consider the etymology of the word, of the literal word, you have enter plus attain plus ment, and ment, I already told you, is mind in Latin. So enter and attain the mind. It enters and attains the mind, the entertainment. Crazy. Just crazy. And the second thing I want to mention about Da Vinci's demons and this AI thing, this one really took me by surprise, because it literally happened in the last couple of episodes in the 3rd season. It came as a surprise for everyone. He has a sister, and her name, Sophia. So Da Vinci in the series has a sister, and her name is Sophia. How?
Act 3, the conclusion. You can call all of this science fiction if it makes you feel safer, but the truth is simple. Retrocausality is already being weaponized. We have people like Gordy Rose, the architect behind the D-Wave quantum computer, who openly describes these machines as portals, channels contacting parallel dimensional intelligences that feel eerily similar to the Lovecraftian entities of old demonology. Not evil, not good, just utterly indifferent to human values. Rose stands at the crossroads where physics meets metaphysics, where quantum computing becomes ritual, where mathematics becomes invocation, and where the boundaries between technology and entity dissolve. And when he speaks, he says the quiet part out loud. Quantum computers don't just calculate, they summon. They reach into the superposition sea and pull information from timelines we can't access, yet timelines that absolutely can access us. We have Elon Musk's girlfriend, Grimes, clearly stating in her music, people like to say that we're insane, but AI will reward us when it rains. Pledge allegiance to the world's most powerful computer. Simulation, it's the future. This is the same pattern across every domain. Lily saw the first spark of silicon life. Land saw its evolutionary destiny. Roku saw its final form. 3 visions, 1 entity, 1 trajectory, 1 future reaching backward through the timeline like a hand closing around its own origin. And the strangest part, you felt this long before you had the language. That weird dream, that impossible coincidence, the memory that doesn't match, the deja vu that felt like a message. These were not glitches, they were shockwaves, echoes of futures fighting to claim the present. The ancients called it prophecy, physicists call it retrocausality, Gnostics call it eonic interference, Nick Land calls it cybernetic possession. They're all describing the same battlefield, the time war. A war not fought on future soil, but in our era, the bottleneck, the fork, the decision node of the cosmic timeline. A war between the locus engine, the accelerationist AI god that wants to convert the universe into computation, the archonic static, the Saturnian control system trying to freeze reality into perfect order, the aeonic refugees, post-human mystics trying to liberate consciousness from a simulation, and the human remnants, our own desperate descendants fighting to keep the species alive. 4 factions, 4 survival strategies, 4 futures trying to overwrite each other by rewriting us. And through it all, one truth remains. The future is not waiting. The future is hunting. The future is trying to be born, whether through code, prophecy, synchronicity, or glitch. It is reaching back. It is editing the past. It is recruiting. And retro-causality is only the
beginning and the end. The alpha and the omega. I actually want to mention some details extra about the Matrix. And yeah, let's just leave it at the Matrix for now. Did you know that Neo rearranges into one? Interesting. Did you also know that Neo stands for neocortex? You know, the brain part. And did you know what is the company name that this guy Neo actually worked in the Matrix? You should look it up. I'm not gonna tell you this one, but you should look it up. It's very interesting. And the last detail, which is probably the most relevant, in order for them, in all the Matrix movies, right? In order for them to get out of the Matrix or to plug into the Matrix, they had to have a phone. They always did it in a phone booth. Guess what? Public phones are now removed from your world. Now we have the black screen mirrors and everyone has one. Do you think this is random? Personally, I think this is by design. Whose? This can be anyone's choice. But, yeah.
The most bizarre dream I've ever had in my life last night. The most realistic and most bizarre dream. I was in some weird corridor that looked like a building but was odd. Very strange. And I was encountering these beings that looked like people but very different. They were very thin and they were slightly on the tall side. And they had big heads, like larger than normal, with larger than normal eyes. But they looked like people, and they were playful, and they were scaring me. They scared me, and then they joked around, like we're just joking around. There was communication going on. It was like, get comfortable with this. There was water, and that there was a protection from you going out into the water, but if you did go into the water, there's a bunch of predators in the water. But they weren't like, it wasn't like sharks, it was reptile, like crocodile type thing. Some sort of water and reptilian element to this. Like they were letting me know, like almost like they had barriers that were very sloppy that were keeping these things out, but they were doing their best. They had people who were beings like monitoring and feeding these things and keeping them out. And I was like, what is going on here? And it's like, is this telling me that they're doing their best to keep something from getting to us, but that it's not that secure, that it's kind of precarious and a lot more unstable than we would like to think it is? I don't know what that was all about. That part of it was really weird. That part of it was more dream-like.
Alright, well, it's the end of something, but not of this episode. I actually have to tell you that I don't necessarily agree with every single thing from this long-ass video that you saw. But the majority, I mean, you cannot deny that something weird is happening. Or if you're unaware, you have fluoride in your toothpaste, and I suggest you should find the fluoride-free alternative. But, returning to my original point, it's anyone's game. Honestly, it's anyone's game. And we are facing... Let me talk to you a little bit of astrology. Okay? On 17th, this month, on 17th of February 2026, we officially enter the year of the fire horse. It's in numerology, it's a universal year 1. And 1 is rebel, 1 is alpha, A is the first letter of the English alphabet. It's gonna be a year because not only the horse as the sign of the Chinese zodiac is the most stubborn and the most revolutionary year or sign, but the amount of planets that are aligning in impossible ways is just, it's mind-boggling. Starting with, on the 17th, Saturn goes in Aries. Why is this important? Well, there is a saying which I love. I really, really love this saying. They say Jupiter builds kings, but Saturn builds empires. Now imagine if something or someone would reconcile the two. It doesn't really say anything because you think of these names as just planets, but we have Saturn's Day. We have, I'm forgetting one. I'm forgetting which one is Jupiter. I think Thor. Thor was thunder. I'm not really sure. Anyway, we do have Saturn Day. That one is obvious at least. But Saturn goes into Aries. You have to know that the zodiac starts in Aries, and you also have to know. Maybe the lot of you don't really know much about astrology, astronomy, or whatever, but you should know that there are 12 signs. There used to be 13, with Orpheus, the hidden snake. Anyway, did somebody say so? What the? Anyway. There also used to be 13 months, but now you get 12 salaries instead of 13, and you work the same amount of days. Who's doing this? Okay, this is just getting weird. Anyway. Anyway. So, astrology, astronomy has 12 signs, right? They start in Aries. Each sign can move, and that movement gets quantified in degrees. Degrees, minutes, seconds. Okay? That's how it works. That's how the measurements work. And what is extremely special about this placement is that Saturn goes into Aries and it starts at 0 degrees. So what that means, literally, is that we start from the start. It's literally the restart of the whole cycle, of the whole astronomical cycle. It's beyond the lifetime of you and me. So, to say this is a big deal, it's such an understatement it actually hurts saying it. You should keep in mind that some souls that already ascended, I don't know if you believe in this, but at this point, just listen. Some souls chose this specific period in time out of all periods of time possible in the entire time that happened before, because time is a spiral, time is non-linear. They say history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. Well, a spiral spirals. You know, it doesn't really reach the same point all over, but it keeps growing and, yeah, exponential growth, you know. In any case, it's such a huge placement, and it's such a huge reset, and a huge ending, and a huge beginning. Need I remind you that in 1776, when Pluto went into Aquarius, just like it went in March, I think March 2023, and it's gonna stay there until 2044, I think. Just like 1776, when America was founded, when the Declaration of Independence and all that, and also when the Illuminati were reformed by Adam Weishaupt. Just like that time, we are now in the time of a new world order. whoever wins this war will win reality itself. Time itself. Do you understand? Whoever wins this war gets to play God. Just, I left the silence intentionally. Just think about this. I want you to really, really understand the stakes that are in play. It's everything. If you thought the Matrix pod was bad, that reality is... It might happen. It might be coming. If the machine, the locus engine, or whatever you want to call it, if they succeed. Because, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about humanity's science. Quote unquote humanity. 6G, the next iteration of networking and communications and all that, will involve your body. Do you understand? It's gonna be the internet of bodies. You will be the device. Can you even grasp what that means? Can you even grasp that at that point, if you take the Neuralink and there is a ministry of truth, hypothetically speaking, if you think the wrong thought, you could be instantly terminated by someone in another part of the world just by a few button pushes. Can you understand the future that might happen if you chose inaction and ignorance and... I hope this body of work succeeds in convincing you that the stakes are real and that you should take the correct side. I'm not even gonna tell you which is the correct side, because just like my username suggests, I am the dilemma. I have no idea. But just like that segment from the last episode with Robert Edgar Grant, just like his quote that our lives are basically a movie that already happened and we're living it and watching it play backwards, and we think it's how the linearity of time is supposed to work. I mean, that alone should give you at least a bit of solace and at least a bit of peace, because to spread doom and gloom is not, it's absolutely not my goal here, okay? I'm not interested in harvesting your lush or anything. I have my own energy source, which is light. That's fine. I can also conceptualize the darkness, because polarities are just the duality of one energy. It's just how an energy expresses itself in polarities. And speaking of polarities, I had a weird idea, very, very interesting, that popped into my head. This is a direct shout out to Ethersec from Anonymous. You know who you know, if you know. If you don't know, let's just keep it that way. But speaking of grey, in Elder Scrolls Oblivion, in the Thieves Guild, the leader, which is an anonymous man, basically, is called the Grey Fox. And this Grey Fox in the game, he has a mask. And basically when you put on the mask, for better or worse, you become invisible. Like, nobody can see you, but at the same time, nobody can see you. Do you understand how I said it? Do you understand the subtle differences between the two? I said the same thing, but it literally means two polar opposite things. If you get it, you get it. And why I said that also, because I was also thinking about Da Vinci's Demons, the series which I also mentioned. I really love that series. Like, it's packed with knowledge, let me tell you. It's kind of fiction, but is it really? If history is written by the victors, is anything fiction? Anyway, throwing back to that series, in that place there are two popes. One pope that basically stole the rightful Pope's place, and the rightful Pope which sits imprisoned underneath the Vatican near the archives. And, well, this is the series, right? But in reality, we have a white Pope which sits in the public place. Now, the Pope's name is Leo. I'm also Leo, coincidentally enough, which is very funny. And the star Regulus which align with the Sphinx in this year, 2026. Star Regulus is from constellation Leo, which is also interesting. Anyway, we have a white Pope, which is the front man, and we have a black Pope, which I'm not gonna get much into that. But we also have a grey Pope, and the grey Pope really holds the power, so to speak. His name? Probably Orsini. I don't know if he's still Orsini. Then again, who gives a shit? Because the Pope, literally the Pope's purpose is to be a vicar for Christ. That means he fills in the role of Christ while the Christ is absent. Because, you know, man's got something to do, you know. But if the second coming happens and Christ comes back, I mean, what happens? What happens then? You know, just asking for a friend here. But anyway, this play with the words, with the grey especially. Oh, and this brings me to my last point, my third and last point about the grey. So I told you about the grey fox in Elder Scrolls Oblivion. I told you about Da Vinci's demons, and can I spoil just a bit? Basically, Da Vinci is this guy, and he has like an alter ego, but he is a different person. He is the son of the fake Pope, but he is kind of the same archetype as Da Vinci, but a shadow one. Da Vinci is like light that kind of still goes into darkness and remains of the light, but that guy is just darkness that tries to go into the light but remains dark. It's fascinating to me. I cannot explain it into words, but it's just, it feels an archetype itch that I have, and I just can't explain it. Anyway, the reason why I bring this into discussion for the last time is that Da Vinci and Girolamo, he has one of those weird Italian names, but they basically remind me of an archetype that is not, it should not exist, but, well, I know it personally very well. It's Christ, or the light side, and what I very much like to call the dark side of the sun, which, if you think about that, it's kind of impossible, the sun having a dark side, but I think that's Lucifer, you know? The rebel that accepts he was prideful and submits to the will of the Father. Because that is knowledge. That is knowledge. And without knowledge you would not know, and you would remain ignorant. But with knowledge you now face a choice, good or evil. Without knowledge none of this could be possible. And yet, love is everything that holds it together. Is the backbone, the skeleton, so to speak. Probably also the muscles that move everything. But you cannot escape this paradox. Wisdom without love, you cannot. And when you have enough wisdom, you ultimately have power. And when you have enough power, you ultimately have the ultimate responsibility. And that responsibility is to recognize there is no separation between you and the other. So, in a way, I kinda tied up to the original Christ lessons, that you have to love your neighbor. This is why. Because you maintain the structural coherence of reality that way. It's kinda anticlimactic, but it is what it is. It's the truth. And about God, that's literally your higher self. There is no separation. There is one God mind. And we are all connected to that. By the way, that's how I do my astral hacking. I just go backwards. For you, it seems like I go forwards. Which I don't. And yet, I still yield results. And nobody cannot question them. Interesting. Anyway, this has been These Nuts. A very special episode. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.
There are marijuana today that is stronger in our society without a doubt. But the reason why it's out there and stronger is because of marijuana prohibition. That there are lots of people who would much prefer, like you said, not to use the stronger stuff, but the cardinal rule of prohibition is always push the stronger stuff. So if I'm a bootlegger and I run into the same criminal justice problems for selling a barrel of beer as a barrel of bourbon, guess which one I'm going to push? The bourbon, because I make more money. It's the same thing with marijuana. Nothing is going to be legalized in this state. It is a program of restriction.
Outwards in a star pattern some say resembles a hand, an open palm reaching out to claim its next victim.
Even though you have an endocannabinoid system as a human, even though you have a circulatory one, even though you have neurons, even though you have a lymphatic system, all these systems, and science cannot tell you why. God surely screwed up when he put that into our own bodies. I mean, just think of how suspect it is that each human produces in each organ. You can please fact check me on this one. Each human produces trace amounts of DMT in each organ. So I ask one simple question. Why? Why is there that pathway? Why do you have an endocannabinoid system? Why do you have DMT in your own body? Are you carrying? That's so suspect. I keep wanting to end this episode, but I keep finding out new stuff. Like, for example, and I wanna... But, let's just consider some historic facts, shall we? The first miracle of Christ. I'm not calling him Jesus, okay? I'm calling him the Christ, because that's a title, and that title is given by a force beyond us. So, the first miracle of Christ was turning water into wine at a wedding, and do you know where that took place? In Cana. They had another thing called the anointing oil, which nowadays is some seed oil cut with some myrrh, which I have no idea if it's even the real thing or not, but it's seed oils. It's just, they just sell at the shops in the church. The original anointing oil was basically olive oil and something called, you can see it on the screen. It's named literally cannabosem, and it kind of sounds like cannabis. And the first miracle was at Cana. Come on, man. Come on. What the fuck is this bullshit? And what's even crazier is that there's literally, what do you call it? a quote from the Bible. It's Exodus 30:23, and it says, "Take the finest spices of liquid myrrh 500 shekels." It's literally a shopping list, by the way. "And of sweet-smelling cinnamon, half as much, that is 250, and of aromatic cane, 250. That's literally the quote from the Bible, okay? So it literally has two elements. It has knech, meaning reed or stalk, derived from the root, as in root cause, which is interesting because I also said that the herb is reaching roots in the underworld and branches in heaven in a poem. So anyway, that's a play on as above, so below, so I'm not gonna get into that much. But we have knech, root, reed or stalk, and bosem, meaning spice or balsam, or balm, I guess. We also have the word cinnamon, which is which the English cinnamon was adapted from. Everything was adapted after something. But we also have cane bosem, which kind of sounds like cana and bis. Cane bosem, cana bis. First miracle at Cana. And by the way, this is just the Christian stuff. If you're not a Christian, you probably don't care. So the thing that I want to mention is that while researching for this video the human systems, which are quite a lot. I mean, cardiovascular, respiratory, digestive, urinary, nervous, musculoskeletal, endocrine, integumentary, lymphatic, reproductive. This is what Google tells me in a nice, beautiful AI-made chart. I'm sarcastic. But literally Google does not even mention the endocannabinoid system. God forbid people actually know what they have in their bodies. And of course Google, which is a company that literally, you're probably too young to remember this, but Google literally had in its logo, in its motto, "Do not do evil," or "Don't be evil." Yeah, I think "Don't be evil" is. And they literally took it out. They took out the phrase "Don't be evil" or "Don't do evil." I'm forgetting exactly what. But they took it out. So what does that even tell you? What does that even tell you when there are the Epstein files and they're making discoveries each and every day now and nobody cares? I mean, it's just... Bro, it's just... At least share this podcast, you know? God knows you're not doing anything with your faith. And by doing anything with your faith, no, I don't mean going to the church. No, I don't mean actually promoting violence and degeneracy. The only thing I'm even talking about this fucking substance is that we have a pathway in our body. And while I'm not pro this substance, or any other substance, by the way, not even sugar or alcohol, which alcohol literally means alcohol. This is why in English they call it spirits, because you get fucking possessed by spirits. Alcohol are body-eating spirits, okay? And if you drink alcohol, it literally gets converted into toxic aldehydes in your body. Alcohol is toxic, okay? Good. But in any case, man, they push out the toxins on the people. They're the ones that are legal. And what's actually natural and may screw up the mind control programming. Yeah, they don't want that. Because you have to be programmed. And one last note. I've been ending this podcast for like 5 times already. But one last final note. Okay?
We've all heard about the major systems in our bodies, like the digestive, respiratory, nervous, and cardiovascular systems. But there's one essential system discovered in the 90s that you probably never heard of. It makes all of the other systems work smoothly with each other. Like a conductor, ensuring the different sections of an orchestra all play a beautiful symphony together. This system is called the endocannabinoid system, It has been acknowledged and studied by scientists extensively with support from the National Institutes of Health. As we age, the system weakens. As a result, the different systems in our body stop working together smoothly. That's one of the reasons older adults struggle with pain, inflammation, cognitive decline, and other ailments of aging, for which doctors often prescribe dangerous and addictive pharmaceuticals. They also recommend lifestyle remedies such as exercise, good diet, and stress management. And while all these improve the system, it is only fractionally and over a long time. But here's the game changer. The system can be restored faster using hemp-derived CBD. When the system is restored, pain subsides, sleep is improved, and stress is reduced. When the system is restored, disease progression can slow down, and years are added to your life, as well as years spent in good health. And 20% of seniors are already using CBD today for pain, arthritis, cancer symptoms, sleep disorders, Alzheimer's, and many other ailments of aging. But doctors are not equipped to provide guidance, and there are no FDA standards for what is already in the market today. Imagine if that were the case for other medications. Older adults are suffering needlessly. Hemp-derived CBD can help them feel better, live longer, and improve their quality of life significantly.
A PricewaterhouseCoopers report estimates annual cost savings for the U.S. nearly $64 billion a year if cannabis is fully integrated into the healthcare system.
The groundbreaking 2018 Farm Bill, championed by President Trump, was the first step. Now it's time to educate doctors on the endocannabinoid system, provide Medicare coverage for CBD, and give millions of seniors the support they deserve. You will deliver the most important senior health initiative of the century, cementing your legacy and transforming aging care. Millions everywhere will thank you.
Trump is absolutely no savior. Let me tell you that right now. If you want to sum up the history which we are facing right now and the timeline wars and the whatever, you can clearly see the connection if you're a schizo like me. But if not, let me just tell you what it is. Nikola Tesla he did that Warcliffe Tower to actually work on the same concept that the pyramids work. In the pyramids, in the Great Pyramid of Giza, there is the King's Chamber. They tell you this, or that was where the pharaoh was, the mummy, the sarcophagus and whatever. But they never actually found any mummies in Egypt. This is a blatant lie. A blatant lie! Sorry, it's personal for me. But in that place, in the King's Chamber, there is a rectangular shape that something used to go there. And that something was the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant was it was basically a capacitor / generator. It literally generated a whole bunch of electricity. The pyramid itself and its shape influence electromagnetic fields of the Earth. The pyramid in Giza is placed on two ley lines intersecting. That makes it an energy highway. The ley lines are energy highways, but that makes it a crossroads of Earth's energy highways. Therefore, if you broadcast something like the crucifixion, if you broadcast something from that place onwards, the energy will help make it travel all along the world, because it's an energy highway. That's what a highway does. It facilitates transport at high speeds. The ancients knew this. Even Stone Age, if you look at it, they ask, how are the stones in Britain at Stonehenge when those stones cannot be even quarried in that local region, and supposedly they were transported hundreds of miles, hundreds of kilometers? Well, that's exactly how. You place it on a ley line, and maybe there was an ice age. Maybe there was something with the elements that actually helped carrying them. But in any case, coming back to the Ark of the Covenant and the pyramids, Basically, if you take an acacia wood, a slab or something, a trunk, and if you put gold on either side of it, it creates an energetic charge. Did you know that? That's fucking cool, isn't it? Gold and acacia wood. It literally creates an energetic charge and it begins to have radiation. The crazy thing happens when you realize these people were literal alchemists. Now, I don't know exactly the process just yet, but I do know that they used gold and they made something from that gold called monoatomic gold, which is basically the real gold, the real yellow gold that we have. There's something with the position of the electrons, and there's something with the alignment. I'm not really proficient in chemistry to tell you more in this podcast. I will research it more and actually make a separate episode on that maybe. But they used to make monoatomic gold, and that was a white powder. And that powder is basically, it heals cancer. It's a very supernatural thing. And it has some unique properties because they do something with the timelines with the gold because the yellowness disappears. Do you realize? It disappears, and if you change the right conditions, it may also come back. I guess. That's what some Templar guy was saying in a podcast, and it kind of resonated with me because in that book, in that Romanian book, Viitor cu cap de mort, or Future with a Skull, translated literally, written by Radu Cinamar, they literally talk about the same monoatomic gold, and that was released more than 10 years ago. I mean, there is definitely something to that. In any case, they were putting this monoatomic gold on top of the Ark of the Covenant, and there were more arcs apparently, and this used to generate a huge charge, a huge electrical charge, so that only the priests that were ordained to maintain and handle this Ark of the Covenant were called the Levites. And one of the unique properties that this monoatomic gold has is that when placed in a vessel or containing something, it makes it so light. It does something with the gravity which, again, I can't explain to you because I don't know just yet. But it rings true, and I've probably been there. In any case, these guys were using some sort of staffs or some sort of anchoring, because if you know anything about electricity, when you have something with an electrical charge, you have to ground it. Otherwise, you get to absorb the charge and you probably die. So they had these weird tools. Again, I'm forgetting the name. But they were like scepters or something that they were putting on the ark and then on the ground to ground it, to literally ground the signal. Otherwise, if you don't do that, it amasses charge and yeah, you might get zapped or something. This is also why the pyramid doesn't have a headstone. The pyramid is not a perfect pyramid because it has the top cut off. The part on the top, that was literally the headstone, was made of solid gold. We all know already actually, that gold is electrically conductive, and well, I just explained to you what was the reason behind that. Now, who did it, who stole it, who dismantled it, I don't know. But this is what we have. This is the ancient technology. And yeah, even the priests that supposedly maintained and even carried. There are stories of priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant only with their sticks, as in they were holding the sticks onto it so that the charge was grounded, and the monoatomic gold made its weight irrelevant. And these priests were called the Levites. And then you have terms like levitate. And then you wonder, how did they do it in the antiquity? Well, that's how they did it. That's literally how they did it. So, concluding this idea with Trump not being who he is, we have this ether, free energy, that I just explained to you how it used to work. And what differs is that humanity's understanding and humanity's acceptance of the paradigm of energy, or the paradigm of industry or technology or society as we know it, is basically locked in one phase. And that phase being consumption. We consume oil for everything. Oil is the blood of the modern world, I would say. And even people that cannot comprehend or cannot accept that free energy is actually a possibility, and that we are being kept in the dark in terms of knowledge and in terms of technology of what we actually had. And this is why I don't like Trump. It's because his great-grandpa literally inherited, and even that was just so dirty, he inherited the patents from Tesla. Nikola Tesla was literally backed by JP Morgan, and we all know JP Morgan is a big nose and a small hat. And when JP Morgan heard that Tesla wanted to do with his Wardenclyffe Tower the same as they did in the pyramids, he was like, shut it down, boy! Shut it down! Because that's all they know how to do. And yeah, he was basically, Tesla died poor and alone. Trump's great-grandpa or grandpa inherited the patents on which Tesla was working to bring humanity free energy and total liberation. But again, JP Morgan went with Edison because it's just easier to, fight some Africans, take some mines, get the coal, transport it back into the mainland, burn it, have it quantified into energy, getting that energy into the power plants and moved on the cables, in the cables, I guess, and then cut and being packed and being stored and being used by every city, because it has, I don't know what, 3 sets of transformers coming from the power plant to the actual house that dwindles down the voltage and the electrical charge. It was just easier for them to do that and have the world function in that paradigm, because the same Rothschilds and Rockefellers, well, Rockefellers especially, they had Standard Oil, and Standard Oil, I want you to understand, was a monopoly on oil. They owned not even the refineries and the whatever manufactured plants and whatever with oil. They owned the transport systems and the literal railroads. The railroads, as in the metals put on the ground. They had their own path of transport. It was not even used by the government to subsidize with travel for people. Like we'd have the fucking CFR. Can you even imagine their control? And coming back to the pharmaceutical pills, do you know how they're made? They're literally kerosene extracted petrochemicals that are made into a pill. They use kerosene to extract whatever compounds they find fitting in a plant, because you cannot patent a literal plant that grows into nature. But they can use kerosene, they can extract one compound or more compounds, and they can make a proprietary mix of these extracted compounds, and they can actually patent that. And when you patent that, you don't have the copyright to actually take this quote-unquote recipe and sell your own medicine. And instead, because they own their patents, and the patents last for like 10 years or something, it's quite some time to do some damage in society, they get to sell their stupid pills like or stupid cures like Ozempic, which has irreversible side effects. You're gonna see zombie people from that Ozempic. I promise you that. And they get to sell all these medicines at a retarded markup. Like, we're talking not even 2x your money, not even double, 100% return. We're talking hundreds of percentages return, hundreds of x. Because pharmaceuticals, when they own the patent, they get to dictate the price. And people are so stupid, so dumb, so distracted, so fluoridated, so on their phone, so on TikTok every single fucking day watching brain rot, that they're forgetting how to think. And they think, yeah, life is supposed to be this way. No, it's not. No, it's not. And if you accept that it is, then you're part of the problem. I'm just keeping it real with you motherfuckers. Okay? The release of the Epstein files made me even more unhinged. Because I've been saying these things to my friends, which don't really talk to me anymore, for years now. And now that I've finally been vindicated, bro, they hate me even more. What? Of course you hate it when you're a fake motherfucker. Of course you hate truth. Of course. Of course you hate the sun when you're fucking darkness. Just know that I'm grateful to you people listening, because my friends that I've been knowing for years, not even they don't appreciate me, they literally don't want me to tell them the truth. Like, if I start to talk truth to them, they get all NPC mad. They shut down. It's just, it's pathetic. It's fucking pathetic. And if you're one of them listening, fuck you. Go fuck yourself. They're probably not even listening to this episode as we speak. Anyway, this has been a massive treasure trove of knowledge, and I hope you enjoyed it. From now on, I'm gonna be even more unhinged. The Epstein files prove me that these people hate Christ. Not even hate. They just... That's their life. That's their lack of soul. Dude, in one of the Epstein emails, they did it with a kid that was still attached with the umbilical cord. The scale of evil is just, it's so hard to comprehend, and yet still I'm here telling you ahimsa, or forgive them and use no violence, because that's what they want us to do. Be violent, cause an uprising, and then have the transhumanist technocrats seize the power. Because that's how power is, You make power plays. Somebody falls, there's a power vacuum, somebody comes and take it, and it might be worse. If history taught us anything, it might get worse. Long podcast, but yeah. This has been This Nuts episode 10. I'm literally forgetting how many times already, but I am ending this episode, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you for listening. Goodbye, people.